Assalamu alaikum, sisters and brothers. Sulaiman Rahim here. Welcome. Messenger of the Covenant, breaking the 7 seals. And second here, brothers and sisters. Bring our audio audience. This is the Black Alert segment of the Fire Zone. Welcome. Brothers and sisters, the apocalypse. Where's the apocalypse? Some of you may have heard of it before. See? We also heard of the tribulation period, heard of the War of Armageddon. Those are just phases of the apocalypse. The apocalypse encompasses the whole thing. And that's the book that describes all those things is the angel, or called Revelations. So in order to be prepared and to overcome, to survive, to be successful during the time of the apocalypse, you must have the map, you must have the book, you must have the road, you have to have clear insight. And the only way you can get that is through the book of Revelations, which is called Apocalypse. Well, since this is very simple stuff, so those people that are misled, because they want to be misled, because as the messenger said, right? Master Elijah Muhammad, the messenger of Master Prophet Muhammad says, truth will be so clear, a fool will not err. But these people are erring because they're greater, they're worse than fools. The demons, we don't care about them. But these other ones, you got these people out here, oh, I got messenger, black man, I got this. They don't have no idea what the apocalypse is. Have no idea. They couldn't tell you what tribulation period is. They couldn't tell you what the Holocaust is. They can't tell you a damn thing about anything. They couldn't even see COVID coming. Yet, oh, I'm the man, I'm the one. So they're going to get we're going to talk about some things. They're going to get what's coming to them, and they ain't going to like it. They're not going to like it. Like the book says, they're going to wish they had never been born, because their hands are going to be soaked with the blood of innocent black people that they stole their inheritance, they stole their future from. See? Because that's what they're thieves and liars. So we're going to talk about the apocalypse. This is a redux, second edition, the apocalypse. Let's talk about a few things first. Like I said, brothers and sisters, see, I mean, you have those people that they're not even interested in this stuff. Their minds on NBA, NFL. They may go to church, they may not. They go to accept, they may put some money in them, bam, they're out of there. Right? They may be there because their loved one is dragging them in or whatever. Then you got those that in there, right? And they say they're all about it. But they don't research. Whatever the preacher say, that's it. See? Whatever the preacher say, that's the bottom line. So they're not reading and checking anything out. See? Then you got those, you do check out things. You know about things. Those are vipers. They try to use it for their benefit. And the preachers fall in that category. See? For their benefit. In other words, how are they going to benefit from this thing? It doesn't matter if they believe in it or not. How can I benefit from this? See, they set up a little corner church somewhere, start spewing their BS, start some money coming in, and depends on how good of a performer they are, how much money comes in. So they figure out ways to get a choir and music and, get people, come in. So that's how they make their living. See, there's nothing about spirituality and nothing like that. It's about them making a living, like Farrakhan. You know, there's somebody sent, I don't know how this gets in my page. They say, I didn't befriend him, he's on there. So he's crying about, I think he said, Temple 55 or something. He said Farrakhan people attacked him. He wasn't specific. But he's crying, oh man, they did all this to me, I'll never forget it and everything else. I'm just cracking up. So I sent him a thing back and say, hey man, you got demons and vipers fighting each other? That's good. Tear each other's head off. Save us the trouble. See? They crying now. They're going to be a lot more crying in a few more days. Because the only guide, that's why they call it, the Revelation, the original book, the original name was the Apocalypse. That's some say the Apocrypha. Depends on what language you use. I think in Italian say Apocrypha. But that was the original name. See, they translated to Revelations in English, but in the original tongue, right, that they claim this was written, I think Greek or whatever, it's called Apocalypse. See, because it's the book that guides you through, right, the apocalypse. You don't need a map of Russia to guide you to America, or I got a map of Russia. How's it going to get you to guide you to any place fine? No, guide you to America. See, that's what I'm talking about. I got Message of Black Man. I got Call for All America. I got the Quran. Those books, they're all lost. They're all confused. Because those books are, they're for another time. So we leave them confused. We want them to stay confused. We only want those ones, right, that can break through this gravitational vortex and overcome it. Why it says in Revelation, he overcomes. Overcome what? You ask yourself that question? He who overcomes. He and she who overcomes. Overcome what? Those are the ones that make it into the hereafter. See? And I mean, if you want to ask, well, yeah, what do you mean overcome? Well, you know, because your name will be in the Lamb's Book of Life, and you know your name's Book of Life because he told you. So they give you a white stone with your name on it. See, you don't understand what that means either. You don't understand any of this. You see? But it says, your name has to be in the Lamb's Book of Life. It says, when Michael comes deliver you, your name has to be in that book. He's only going to deliver those whose name in the book. It's not his book. It's the Lamb's book. See, he's the conductor. The Lamb is the ticket master. See? So that's simple enough right there. See? And if you say, well, Michael, who's Michael? Well, why is this stuff so difficult? Even if you follow the messenger or whoever, right, it must be the one, right? Michael, he must be the God. He must be, if you Elijah Muhammad follower, so-called, it must be Master Muhammad, unless there's two deliverers. See? Because some of you are just totally stupid anyway, like Ishmael, Farrakhan's spokesman. That boy is totally retarded. He couldn't tell you what 2 + 2 is. So, we now, see, you see me waste, you see me, I mean, yeah, I got gray hairs, but it ain't because of you. You see me suddenly waste time, you see me upset, crying because you're not listening to this? You better go read scripture again. Jesus prayed that they would not listen to it because he didn't want them. He said he hoped they don't see it. Because if they saw it, then he'd have to deliver them. He'd have to save them. He prayed they didn't. So those of you that's blocking it, keep blocking it. Just keep on doing what you're doing. You got your devil on your arm, keep that devil on your arm. Because you fools don't understand, you're in the judgment right now. You in the judgment right now. See, you're in the judgment right now, and eyes are on you. See, you talk this stuff. You know, I was with the messenger from 70 to 75. And the minister Yusuf Shah, I was at Temple 2. I started out 25 in Newark, transferred it to in September 1970. I got my ex 21st of August 1970. And I went looking for Elijah. Elijah didn't fish me in. Nobody from the Nation of Islam fished me in. I didn't even know anybody. I didn't even know who there was Elijah. I just believed there was one because I was studying the Bible and I was looking for him. And I found him. I got my ex 21st under Mr. James Shabazz in Newark, 21st August 1970. I was 21 years old. See? And once I realized this was all about Elijah, I transferred to Newark. I was transferred to Chicago because I was in Newark. I used to live right across, around the corner from the temple about it. I didn't know what it was. That's another story. Anyway, I transferred and I was with him from 70 to 75. From 70 to 75. See? And all this BS they talking about, none of that stuff ever happened. All this nice crap these people talking about, they wasn't there. They don't know. They talk all this stuff. See, they got this book, that book, everything you think everything he taught was a message to the black man? You think everything, the thing is, I actually helped put some of those books together because I was a foreman at Muhammad Speak newspaper. I printed the paper, the night shift. So I helped put some of those things together. And I have a whole album here because they would burn all that stuff up of Muhammad Speak newspapers. And you see a lot of stuff in there that you don't even see in those books. A lot of stuff in there you don't even see in those books. But they was burning, Wallace and Farrakhan was burning all those albums up. I have a big one right here. Because they used to take like 6 months worth of Muhammad Speak newspaper and put it in a binder, right? Like from the library. And I had a bunch of them. Because when I found they was doing it, I ran down to the press real fast and grabbed as many as I could. They was getting ready to put them in the fire. That's how much Farrakhan cared about Elijah Muhammad's teachings. They was just burning all that stuff up. And they got rid of Nation of Islam. FBI had nothing to do with it. The government had nothing to do with it. That was Farrakhan and Wallace that tore that whole thing down. So he's a liar about that too, because I was there. See? So I covered some of those books, and over years, I meet some brothers and stuff that that was disenchanted with Farrakhan, and they, I told them I had the book, and they wanted to see it, and I lent them the book. I never got the books back. That's wrong, but I understand it. It was wrong what they did, but I understand it. See, I understand it. So I'm not mad at them. But they just steal the books from me, right? I gave them blown it. I never got them back. So I got one. I kept hanging. I know I took it over there to Farrakhan's place, a study group. When I went to try to talk to those people a few years back, and they wanted me to give it, let them hold it. I said, no, you ain't holding this. You can hold it while I'm watching you. And someone looked like it was a piece of garbage. Man, what's this, man? Those people, ooh. Like it ain't, something. So I was clear to me that I was never gonna get it back if I ever lent it to him. I definitely wasn't gonna get out of my sight, not for a second. And some of them probably just took it used for toilet paper, because they have no connection to Elijah Muhammad's teachings. They don't care about Elijah Muhammad's teachings. See. And I don't care how much Ishmael gives to me. He knows he's not teaching Elijah Muhammad's teaching. All you got to do is look at the lessons. Look at Elijah Muhammad's teachings. Elijah Muhammad said, we'd be a fool to want to stay in that land of our imprisonment. You can go around on YouTube and see that one. I can give you the link. And they said, we ain't going nowhere. That was the whole purpose of Elijah Muhammad being here. And they said, no, we ain't going nowhere. So that nullifies his whole mission. Remember, that was his mission, to prepare us to get, to start the preparation, to start the process of going back home, get us ready for it. And Farrakhan said, we ain't going nowhere. So that means he just spit on everything Elijah Muhammad. He just said he nullified everything Elijah Muhammad taught. So he can't tell you he's following Elijah Muhammad when the whole purpose of Elijah Muhammad was to prepare us to go. And he said, we ain't going nowhere. And the whole reason why Master Muhammad came here is to tell us we're going back home to fulfill the covenant, Abrahamic covenant. But he said, we ain't going nowhere. So how the hell are you going to tell me that he's a follower, he's following Elijah Muhammad's teachings? So he can fool you, because you ain't paying attention. And most of these people, right, there's young people, they don't know. And he can fool them and think, oh man, and he's rebuilt the nation of Islam. He ain't rebuilt a damn thing. He hasn't rebuilt a damn thing, right? If you go and tear down the Empire State Building or Sears Tower and tear it down, all the way down, and then you build up a little pub at the bottom, right? You want, is that, you rebuilt it? He rebuilt the damn thing. I was there. See, you don't have any people around anymore, hardly anybody around anymore to tell the truth about what happened. Except you get Farrakhan's version, which is a total lie. It's like this COVID thing, he told a lie about that. And he outright lied, but see, they don't care about him lying because they're idolaters. Idolaters don't care about what the statue says. They don't care what how the statue looks. Think about that one. Idolaters don't care about what the statue says, because the statue don't say anything anyway. They only care about how it looks. So you can tell how Farrakhan looks. He's so pretty. He looks so young, but he can't even walk, right? But he's so, see, they concentrate on that because, and his performance, like the so-called swine song, swine, not swine song thing he did, right? 5 hours of total shit buffet. That's all it was. See, and it was a performance. See, no substance at all, none, zero substance, none. And we're in the time of the apocalypse, and he didn't mention it all. He don't even know we're in the time of apocalypse, and if he wouldn't tell you what to do. And that we're going to talk about that in a minute, because that's where we are, and the only one can lead you through it is the one who has unlocked, opened the door, right, to tell you what the apocalypse is all about. To give you the guide, to give you the roadmap to get through it. See, if you go into California, you want a map that shows you how to get to California. You want a map to show you how to get to Mexico. So you follow their maps. You see what happened. Where did their map lead them in 2020? See, it led them right into a brick wall because none of them saw COVID-19's coming. None of them saw it. Not one of them. Farrakhan took 7 months to even speak to it. And he had so-called Savior's Day at the end of February. And the thing, COVID had been out going on 60 days by then. It was totally known to the public for at least 30, 40 days. But he lied about that. He told an outright lie about it. See, anyone can check to find out. Because Elijah Muhammad's teaching is that the slavery started in 1619, right? And so 1619 to 2019, that's 400 years. That means, it said after, and according to Abrahamic covenant, after that 400 years, God would bring a plague that would kill the firstborn. That means the elderly, but it would pass over you. And exactly what happened. It's passing over original people. They said, well, you drop them like flies. But again, I keep saying it over and over again. Just go and Google WHO, World Health Organization. They put out a public paper about a couple of months ago saying that it's not affecting Black Africa or Haiti or any place where black country black folks control. See, that should be big news. So you got to go look for it. Because as far as Israel, that happened to them, they would say, yeah, see, that's just prophecy, man, because it's getting everybody else, but it's not affecting them. Then they would have bought it. See, then they would have telling you, oh, this is current stuff now. Because right now they're trying to tell you that's in the past. That's how they blinded you. Because the scriptures is written by your ancestors, right? So you'd have foresight in it during these times. That's what the purpose of scripture. That's how we get our foresight. See? That's how the general public get their foresight. That's not how the gods and the scientists get their foresight, but that's how the general public get their foresight. That's the purpose of the book, to give you foresight. It's not to give you hindsight. They're not historical things. That's why I call it prophecy. They're prophecies. It's good prophecies. I'm talking about history, I'm talking about the future. It's only history once that prophecy has been fulfilled, but they haven't been fulfilled yet. And they keep telling you all this stuff, all the whole Bible, all that stuff is in the past. That's how they blind you. Because they're telling you it's hindsight when it's foresight. And I'm trying to show you it's foresight. Because that's why they didn't see COVID-19. And they knew when it happened what that meant, but they didn't want you to know. Because all this stuff that's talked about, almost all the stuff that's going on, kicked off Because if you understand the scripture, right, it says immediately after the oppression of those days, some people say tribulation, then all those things will happen. And what? Immediately after 2020 to 2019, immediately what happened? Plague. Just like it says, immediately after the oppression or terror, they translate to tribulation. But if you look at what tribulation means, oppression is one of the synonyms, right? So, and our oppression began in 1619 to 2019, 400 years, and immediately after that came the plague, 1920. But Farrakhan, because he was passed down, it don't matter because he ain't got no balls anyway, right? But he is foul, right? But the thing is that he's he claims he's prophet. He's anointed. We should have seen that. Of all people, he should have seen it. If he's all he say he is, he should have seen that. But he didn't see it. And Silas didn't see it. And then there's other guys, clowns, that didn't see it. None of them saw it. You see? So, and I told you, I was commenting on it. I've been talking about these things for 30-some years. They didn't see it. So then, he waited 7 months. I mean, he had this so-called Savior Day, February, and that was 2 months into this plague. 2 months into it. He didn't even mention it, not even a nibble. He has totally up Kobe's ass. He didn't even give a nibble on it, nothing. And then 7 months later in July, he always said he knows all about it. And then he lies. And he said, oh, no. Slavery started in 1555, which is a lie. Elijah Muhammad didn't say that. Elijah Muhammad said it started in 1619. He said we came over in 1555. It took 64 years to convert us into slaves. Negro butt, that's my name, that's my word, not his. But it took 64 years to turn us into slaves. So slavery started in 1619. That's the official date. That's the official date the devils have. So he went back and said, no, it's 1555. See, because he had to show he's a liar. He had to cover up the fact that he didn't get it. Because that's the easy call. So he said, that means that 1955 should have been the 400 years. That means your plague should have been in 1956, right? So it didn't happen. So he said, see, that didn't have nothing to do with us. See? Just a liar. Anyway, brothers and sisters, I'm going to point out some things here. I'm going to try to explain to you a little more about the apocalypse, because it's a period of time. It's the greatest time in history, in this part of history, because we have two exceptional historical points. It says this one will be, it says this will be a time of unprecedented trouble. So in other words, unprecedented means never been anything like this before. And if we go back and look at those of you who claim to be Elijah's followers and carrying on, right? We hear about the making of the moon. Well, he didn't talk about the gender wars, but that goes into that, right? And other things, right? And that was a horrific affair. I mean, it knocked the Earth out of its orbit, right? Billions of people died. But he says this time will be worse than that, because unprecedented means there was nothing ever like it. And the Bible says nothing ever will be like it again. And we enter in that phase, and who's guiding you through that phase? Who is guiding you through it? Because Pharaoh, he can't even walk. How are you going to guide you through it? I mean, he's got 2 feet in the grave. But he's not going to die. Not that easy. He's got 2 more. He's got some things coming to him that he's not going to like. He thought that cancer was bad. That was just beginning his troubles. Right? See? But who's going to guide you through it? Because first of all, they didn't even tell you. In fact, now I'm the only one talking to you about it. How did you through it? See, the Christians tell me, well, we're going to be raptured. Okay. You wait for that one. See? I'm the only one telling you about it. See? See, you was blind to everything. You was calling what we went through 400 years slavery. I've been telling you for years. That, I didn't give it a name, but I kept telling you, it says, that wasn't slavery. Look at the dictionary. That was not slavery. Rape, murder, sodomy, and all those things they was doing. That's not defined as slavery. Slavery is an economic system. When they work you and don't pay you, that's slavery. We went through horror. Went through horror. See, horror. The Holocaust. It was 400 years of horror. Slavery was just part. That was the capitalist part of it. That was the economic part of it. That was capitalism at its best. See, you tell me you want to be a capitalism impoverished the world. It didn't enrich the world. This capitalism impoverished the world because it's a predatory system. It takes from others. America is a whole predatory icon of predatorism, if you want to use that word, right? Because they stole this country, they killed some inhabitants, and they brought us over here and worked us to death and destroyed us as a nation. It says the devils will go out to what? To kill, steal, and destroy. And exactly what they did. So it's easy to identify who they are. And they were escaping from Europe. They made Europe into a shithole. That's where they were escaping from. They tell you Europe was a shithole. See? So if they so great and so wise and so beautiful and all this stuff, how come Europe was a shithole? How come they're trying to escape it? And now they turn the whole world into a shithole. Look, the whole world's all messed up now. The weather's all messed up and everything else. They had Europe, they turned the shithole, and now they got the world, and they turn it into a shithole. That's why it says God's going to destroy those who are destroying the earth. These people are shit kickers. See? They turn gold into shit. See, we turn shit into gold. That's why it's a symbiotic relationship that brings over here, because we keep cleaning up their mess. They have us clean up their mess. That's what so-called slavery was all about, right? They fed us the shit, and we converted into nutrients for them. I'm not going to go too far on just because I said I could talk. I could talk for days, just on that point right there. See, because what was they doing? We was living in shit, eating shit. What do you think shitless is? That's why they call it. They call it by his name. I mean, come on, brothers and sisters, stop the bullshit. It's shitlins. Take that C and put an S there. They changed it so they could market it. They know they couldn't market anything called shitlings, so they changed the S to C, called chitlins, and you still buying it, and you know it's shit because you got to clean it, and you can smell it and you see shit floating. So we had the shit, and we turned, but it might work, right? They turned the shit into gold, so they had to go, and then they turned the gold back into shit, and then we gave the shit. And that was the process, and now they program you in such a way, because it took 64 years to program you into a Negro butt, right? And they program your taste buds that make you think that shit is honey, and so you just gobbling up. Oh man, you think I'm lying? Don't you love shitlins? Don't you think it's honey? It's good, man. And you see it's shit. Don't you ain't bullshitting me. This is no bullshit zone. See, they have you eating shit and you liking it. You think it's like honey, it's good. Some of you think you rather have shitlins than anything else. Because they programmed you that way. And your program is about to be short-circuited. Your God is going to short-circuit your program to give you a chance to get out here and get your reward that you deserve. You deserve this reward because you put 400 years in. See, they don't want you to get your reward because your reward is destruction for them. See, the Holocaust wasn't slavery. Slavery was just the economic part of it. This look like slavery to you? Look at the definition. That looks like slavery to you? Look at it. That's horror. 400 years of it, 24/7, 365 times 400 times about 50, 60, maybe 80 or 90 million of us. See, the Holocaust. So let's get into this. I want to talk about apocalypse. See, I got a few notes here. Who will win the war of Armageddon? See, that's just a phase of it. See, phase of it. That's not the apocalypse, that's part of it. Apocalypse. See. It's the battle for who's going to control the universe. It's the battle for who's going to control the universe. Let me move something here for a minute, brothers and sisters. It's a battle for who's going to control the universe. Apocalypse. See? We got two contenders for it. You know, in the Zoroaster, those books are legitimate books. They're revealed books. See, let me say this real quickly. Let me touch on this a little bit. Those you claim that you're Elijah Muhammad. See? Scripture is written every 25,000 years for future. Let me say future. So it's not past, it's future. See? So Exodus ain't past, it's future. Or it's present. And they write the books, and then they present the books for the time period that book is relevant. And then when a new period comes in, right? New circumstances, then you reveal another book for that time. That's where it's relevant. And the old books are no longer relevant, so they go away. Because it's been billions and billions of books written. Where are they? What happened to the book that was given to Abraham? You don't see that book around anywhere. But Abraham walked and talked with God. He's the one that built Mecca. He's the one that built the Kaaba. He's the one that started the pilgrimage. But where's his book? You don't see it around anymore because it's not relevant anymore. But they try to tell you, well, the Quran is all time. And you got Farrakhan, he buying into that because he's trying to get you into Sunnism. See? So now the book they tell you that's for this time is this book that was sealed to make sure that nobody would tamper it, make sure it was totally pristine and everything, make sure it was totally accurate. That's why it was sealed and will be sealed until the end. It tells you that, right? So in other words, once you seal it, that's the best information that you need to get through this. That's the information you need to get through this. So you want to hold on to Message of the Black Man, you want to hold on to Fall of America, those are relevant, those are books, those are good books for their time. They serve their purpose and have some information. The Quran has some information about the apocalypse, but it's not a guide through the apocalypse. See? I mean, there's let's tell you itself. I'm not going to criticize Elijah Muhammad. Like I say, as far as I'm concerned, the man is one of the greatest men ever lived. Right? To have met him, to have been security for him is one of the greatest privileges of my life. See? But I don't represent Elijah Muhammad. I did up until I broke the seals in 1990. See? Because this is the book that you need. Because this is the only book that's telling you what's going on. The Injil is the only book that's telling you what's going on. And it's been accurate. It's accurate about COVID. It was accurate about the Gulf War. Right? I mean, I'm not going to go into those details, but let's move on. We're not trying to convince you anything. You might think I'm trying to convince you. No, I'm not. If you think that, you're dead wrong. I'm just putting information out there because our brothers and sisters are about to wake up in a minute, and this information will be available for them because they're going to want it. So I'm going to talk about some of these wars here. I'm going to talk about the apocalypse because, like, understand, these wars they're talking about, these are wars. Say there'll be wars and rumors of wars. This thing going over Ukraine right now, that's a rumor of war. That's not part of the apocalypse. And that's part of a grand scheme they got. I may talk about that in a little bit too. But what kicks off the apocalypse is the dragon war. You see. Well, let me backtrack. Hold on for a minute. See, the time of the apocalypse, right, started in 2020, right, with the plague. That's the opening shot, right? But the thing that actually initiates, right, the wars, that's Master Muhammad does, and that's the Dragon War. That's chapter 12. Says Michael's angels goes to war with the dragon and his angels. Now you need to know who the dragon is. Farrakhan, they don't know the dragon. Oh, the dragon, he was a serpent in the Eden, and then he becomes the dragon. And okay, well, who are the 7 heads of the dragon then? Farrakhan, what does that mean? Who are the 10 horns? What does that mean? What was 10 crowns on 7 heads on his head? What does that mean, Farrakhan? He had a red tail. What does that mean, Farrakhan? You know what I'm saying? You're talking about, well, that's the media. Okay, well, explain all these things. Explain all these symbols. Because you don't know. Because you're just a liar. And you're a devil. Right? You better learn some biology, brothers and sisters. Let me make a little modification here. Learn a little biology. See? Because, you know, it's just so much talk about. I really have to force myself to stay on target here. Because, I mean, I started talking about something and I said, man, let me talk about that. And then next thing I know, I'll be 3 or 4 hours into this. Right? Well, hold on, let me back up again here. I don't want to do that. I don't want to be 3 or 4 hours into this, but so let me hold that thought. Because so like I said, Farrakhan's the devil. All you gotta do is Google his bio. It says his father's name is Percival Clark. He's a devil. You go and Google says, Google this. Farrakhan says that his grandparents, his father was maybe a Jew. And you get a whole interview he did where he said his father's parents were Portuguese, Caucasians, and possibly Jew. That makes him a devil. If his father's a devil, he's a devil. You better learn some biology. But on that note, they was talking. They had this thing. I don't know how these people get on my page, right? They say my friend. I never befriend them. And they was talking about this brother Ben X or something. No, I'm gonna call my brother. He's a demon, right? And his father standing there, right? The apple don't fall. You know, they trying to be complimentary. His apple don't fall far in the tree and all this stuff, right? Oh, I got lots of comments. So to cut to the chase, I'm gonna go into detail. I says, hey, well, hold it. If y'all can play that logic to him, apply the same logic to Farrakhan. See? Because his father's a devil. See? But you want, well, I don't know. Biologically, he's a devil. Period. See? But see, you one of these people that can't tell a man from a woman, transgender. Well, I feel like I'm a man. Well, I feel like I'm a woman. There's Supreme Court justice, the one that's just got confirmed or whatever. Well, this woman, she's supposed to be a female. I don't know. And so now, you don't know what a devil is now? After all the teaching Elijah Muhammad gave, you don't know what a devil is? If your father's a devil, you're a devil. And if your father's a devil and you're most other than a devil, then you're a demon. Period. Half devil, half man. You understand? The man's a demon. So how he's going to be your Messiah? So if you, like I said, the demons are in with that. It's so much, but I'm going to move on with that. I just hit him with that. I moved on. See? So you better learn some biology. See? So he has no clue what dragon is. But that's the first one. That's the kickoff. That's initiate. Right? See? So that's what is heating up right now. See, because they already saying they're going to attack Iran. They already said it. If Iran doesn't go back to JCPOA, which I said back in at first, I told you it was going to be ended in 2018, because I said it'd be ended, and I told you that they weren't going back to it. And so it's been what? 3.5 years so far, and they haven't went back to it. I said they were not going back to it. So call me a liar. I said they're not going back to it. 3.5 years they've been talking around, and now they're saying if Iran does not agree to these terms, if they can't come to agreement, then they're going to attack them. And for Israel, they're going to attack them either way. They said there used to be they ain't gonna have a nuclear weapon. Now they're not even gonna be nuclear capable or whatever, some other BS they coming with, right? And that's the war. But it's not gonna happen like they think it's gonna happen. See, that war is gonna initiate, but it says Michael's angels gonna go to war with the dragon's angels. Who's the dragon? It's the dragon. You need to know the angel key, so I'm not gonna go in detail because you're not gonna understand it. You need the angel key, and like I said, we have people that's qualified to teach you the angel key if you want to learn it, right? Because that's the key to the rest of the scripture. All the scripture under veil. So anyway, the dragon represents the house of Sod. Oh man, well, represents the house of Sod. See, because I said years ago, they're going to be in with false Israel and America in a war, right, against the Shia. And people thought, oh man, you crazy, man. They ain't gonna never ally themselves with false Israel, man, and all this stuff, right? And they never gonna attack another Muslim. I said for years ago. Now what's happening right now? So-called Abraham Accord. They already have diplomats talking with each other between Saudi Arabia and not even Saudi Arabia that belongs to them. It's not our land. Between them and false Israel. You see? So they're already allying with false Israel already. And I said for years ago, now they're doing it. Because they're praying for war. And that's, so the dragon's angels represents, his angels are America, Britain, and false Israel. See, because that's where they get their main oil supply from. And that's what made them powerful. They was made powerful. That's why they referred them as the dragon's angels, because the Saudi Arabia is made them powerful. Who has the most oil, who has the most energy, is the most powerful. And America got powerful, and Britain and falls got power because of all that cheap oil they was getting. They was getting cheap oil from Saudi Arabia. Cheap oil. Cheaper than anybody else. You go to Europe and try to get a gallon of gas, well, it's almost which it is right now, but well, not still, it's still much more. While you was paying $1, $2 a gallon, they was paying like $6, $7 a gallon over there. See, because America guaranteed the house of Saud, because the angel tells us they're not even Arabs, they're Indians that the British put on the throne to protect that oil supply. See, and so they was in return for them being guaranteed their throne over there, control that oil, control all that wealth, right? That they would give America cheap oil. And that's what made America powerful. See? Because they had plenty of cheap energy. That's why I refer to America, Britain, and false. And because America was so powerful, it was able to lift up their, right, Magog, right? Britain, right? That's their mother. And false Israel, the other client, because all that wealth they got as a result. I mean, they got the wealth from still in America, but they became superpower status because they was getting that cheap oil, cheaper than anybody else. See? So they go into war. This year, by my calculations, again, it says Master Muhammad's only one knows the exact time because he's the one that's going to initiate the war. But I'm confident that I'm on post with this one. See, within a year, I think I got it narrowed down to a couple of months, but we'll see. That's one of the wars that kicks off the apocalypse. Officially, like the apocalypse actually begin, right? 2020. At the end of our, well, I can't say imprisonment, we're still in prison here. See, at the end of that 400-year term. And then, that immediately goes into what they call Armageddon. Now, Armageddon is the war in Europe. That's where we get them fighting each other, because that's the war with Gog and Magog is trying to maintain control over all the other European countries. See, because Gog and Magog They're supreme right now. That's Adam and Eve. They're trying to maintain their authority, their power, their leadership of all the European countries. That's Armageddon. It's a European war. See? But and simultaneously, while that's going on there, there's going to be a war here, right, with the demons. That's Suleiman or Joshua, right? Joshua and Jesus, same name. It's just one is Hebrew and one is or one's Aramaic or Hebrew and one's Greek, but they're the same name, just different language. He goes to war with the demons. He got to clean up his house because right now we're infested by demons. Half devil, half man. That's master children. They look like us. They walk like us. They're skin folk. They ain't kinfolk. And they've been plaguing us and ripping off. And they're just like their daddies. They're predators. They're leeches. They've been leeching off us for hundreds of years. See, and it says half the blacks in America are demons. So we've been plagued by them. Read Mark. It has beaten ourselves. It has injuring ourselves. See, because, and they keep, see, we was terrorized from the outside by the devils, and we was terrorized inside by them. See, they see, we was transformed into Negro butts. See, it took 64 years to do it. So 1619, the first Negro bus came off the assembly line, right? Programmed to self-destruct, programmed to do whatever mass tell you, programmed not to think, do whatever mass tell you to do. See. But the terror butts, right, that's the master children. What they do is up until now, you didn't know who they were. So they was in our community, right, spreading terror, keeping us hating each other, keeping up confusion, crime and stuff. They've terrorized us, been terrorizing us in disguise, hidden, our hidden enemy up until now. They're still doing it, but now they're being called out. See, they kept doing it until Joshua, Suleiman came along, read Mark, and exposed them. What's your name? My name is Legion. Louis Eugene Grounds, NOI backwards. That's Farrakhan. And we are many. You see? So he had to take them out. Clean up his house. That's a war. It's going to be a war between us and them. See? Because it says he's going to come in, he says he's going to beat him out of the temple. It says, when ancient days set, he said, when thrones were cast down. What do you mean thrones cast down? See, it says it's flaming fire. You got to read Daniel because, I mean, we were still in the furnace. America's a furnace to us. So it says when he set, because we're still in America here. That's what it's talking about. The thrones, fire came out of thrones. There's no fire come out of thrones on the mother plane. They don't even use any kind of, it's not even based on that kind of fuel. Doesn't use any fuel at all, actually. Those magnets have power, but do they have fuel? Do they need fuel? No, they don't need any. See, you don't understand the power source. See? So it says, when thrones were cast down, that means he's got to cast them demons out. That's what he did. He cast them out, cast them back to their swine daddies. That's a war. That's what's going to take place right here with Suleiman against Farrakhan. Suleiman against Farrakhan. See? First, you got Master Muhammad against the House of Saud, against the dragon, and Gog, Magog, and false Israel, which is also called Dajjal. He defeats them. The Suleiman got to defeat the demons. See? But simultaneously, you got Gog and Magog, they're fighting with the kings of the earth, which is other European countries, in a devastating war where they get betrayed and they get surrounded and all their lovers flee from them, or where NATO and all that kind of stuff is going to turn on them. I talk about this. I'm not going into detail here. See? That's like phase 2. See, that happens immediately after the Dragon Wars, the Dragon War. See? Then, as a result of Gog and Magog, see, America and Britain, Adam and Eve, right, going against other European countries, right, the result of that is their power is depleted. Their power is depleted. Their superpower status is depleted. is curtailed because they're destroying each other. They're killing their troops, millions of them. And they're going to drag some of you over there because you're stupid enough to buy this American dream stuff and everything else. They're going to trick you. I'm not going into that detail here, but they're going to be bringing you over there, and you're going to go over there, and you're going to be dying, your sisters and brothers, and whatever. Muslim fathers going to be going over there dying, getting their ass blown up over there because they ain't listening to this message. And Farrakhan's setting them up. There's no story together. I'm not going to get into that. See? So, remember, you got two things going at the same time. You got the demon wars here, Suleiman against the demons, right? And you got Gog and Magog, right? They fighting with each other, so their power is depleted. And so that makes, as they're becoming weaker, right? Then, because if you got two families fighting each other, you got family A fighting family B, right? So they fight, so it's like a stalemate. And then family B, they start fighting amongst themselves. Well, that means A becomes stronger because now they can move in because they're divided. It says a house divided cannot stand. And so now European countries where they were united, now they're divided. And so now that China and India emerged as the new superpowers. That's what's talking about the dragon. See, I told you Farrakhan had no idea what this is talking about. That's why the dragon said the dragon gave his power to the beast. It gave us 7 crowns that it had on his head. It gave it to the beast. Now the beast has 10 crowns on his horns. Because he had 10 horns, 7 heads, just like the dragon did. See? But now the horn, the authority, which is the crowns, is passed over to the beast. That's America. That's China, India. That's the leopard in Daniel, yellow with brown spots. See? And then they make their move. That's the next phase of the apocalypse. They make their move, and the first thing they take out Magog, Britain. Take her out first. That's the goat that comes across from the west. His feet not touching land means comes across the Pacific Ocean. Comes after the ram. That's America, with the 2 horns. America and Britain, Gog and Magog, Adam and Eve, and crushes them. But Britain goes out first. See. Now, I didn't mention something when the Gog and Magog wars are happening. There's also a time of the abomination of desolation. See, that's a big one that scriptures talk about. Abomination of desolation. What does that mean? It says when Jerusalem is surrounded by armies. See, I mean, this stuff is very simple, brothers. This is ABC stuff. Who's Jerusalem? Who controls Jerusalem? Jerusalem is the capital of what? Ain't it capital of false Israel? Ain't it? Isn't it the capital of false Israel? Right? Who controls it? Doesn't false Israel control it? Right? But it said when you see Jerusalem surrounded by armies, its destruction is near. That means, wait a minute, hold it. That verse just tells you they're going to be destroyed. But these Christians tell you they're not going to be destroyed. But that verse says they are going to be destroyed. Because the whole idea, if they're the true seed of Abraham, once they return, they can't be destroyed. But the scriptures tell you they're going to be destroyed. It says when you see Jerusalem surrounded by armies, their destruction is near. That shows you, scripture tell you they are not Jews. They're the synagogue of Satan, just like it says in the AL-INJIL. It says those who call themselves Jews, they're not. They're synagogue of Satan. They're going to be destroyed. This happens, right, while they're going through the Gog and Magog wars when they're fighting the kings of earth, fighting amongst themselves. Hold on, brother. So I'm going to check something right quick. Okay. So they go down. And that's going to lead to old mess, big mess here in America. Okay. That'll shock waves to the world. They're already in trouble. They're already at war there, right? You already got the demon wars going here, but now you're going to ignite the race wars. Because once false Israel goes down, you got a race war going on, right? See, because first of all, That means they weren't the true seed of Abraham. That means now we the true. That's going to shock waves all around the world, because now that means we the true seed of Abraham. And what does that mean? What's the implication of that? That means they're not good people. They was oppressing God's people, and they was blessing God's enemies, false Israel, Satan. See. So evangelicals will go crazy. See. Plus, when they go down, see, they hate. The only reason why they support false Israel is to counter Elijah Muhammad's statement that we the true seed of Abraham. And we got the proof. We got the history and everything. So that's when they set up in 48, is to counter that. But they, remember, a few days before that, they was burning Jews up. Remember, heard the so-called Holocaust? They was burning them up. They hate them. And nobody was helping them. They find help no place in the world. America wasn't helping. America was more anti-Semite, if you call that. That's not even real, because they're not even Semites. Was hated them as much as Germans did. You see? They couldn't find any rescue anywhere. See? And then suddenly, overnight, after 1,000 years of hating these people and persecuting them, and finally putting them up, burning them up in the chimneys, they loved them. Their shit was honey. Where'd that come from? All of a sudden, after 1,000 years, because they had to counter Elijah Muhammad's claim. But they still hate them. But they was useful, because they could not have that idea. I mean, they couldn't allow that narrative to go along in America, because that means that. Because remember, right now they said, man, we ain't responsible for what our ancestors did. We don't tell our children CRT, and it wasn't no rape theory. Because if it's clear that we're true to Abraham, that means who are they then? Who are they? You see, so they had to snuff that out. Okay, so when that goes down, then remember, false America and Britain just got kicked out of the Middle East. They're gonna be blaming Russia for it. That's how they got in the war in Europe, because they go immediately to war in Europe because they were blaming Russia for this. Because remember, Russia is allied with Iran. See, so they go immediately in war in Europe. But then the Europeans turn against them. I don't know if I'm going to go in detail. Maybe I hit on a little bit, right? Because that is another story together I want to talk about later. Maybe I'll talk about later. Anyway, they get in war, so immediately go to war. Yeah, and then war in Europe. See, it says, chapter 18 says the European economy, Western Europe, is going to immediately economy collapse. Well, I mean, touch on a little bit, because what happens? This is a backfire situation. But right now, Germany, France, all these people, they get their oil from two sources, the Middle East and from Russia. Middle East and Russia, that's their primary source of oil. Keep their economy going. And now, the Middle East has been cut off, because now that, remember, Iran and Syria, they're mass from Muhammad's angels. They're Michael's angels. Michael's angels go to war with the dragon's angels. And now they have total control of the Middle East. Total control all and everything. So they cut off Europe, because Europe was assistant back in America in their war against them. So they cut off. They don't have that access to oil anymore from there. Only access they have is Russia. But now America's at war with Russia, and they're supposed to be allies with America. So Russia's not going to give them oil to attack them back with. Russia cuts them off. You see? So now, that's why it says, chapter 18, their economy collapsed overnight. Just collapses. See? They're not talking about Russia. Russia's economy is going to collapse. They got plenty of oil. Western Europe, France, the EU, basically EU, collapse overnight. See? So the only way they can survive is they got to take and side with Russia if they want to continue getting oil. And that's how they turn on America. They go with Russia, and so now America's in a vice. They're in a trap. Because all their friends, they thought was friends, are turning against them. So now they're over in Europe, sending millions and millions, the 100,000 people over there, right? And it's a lot of you, right? Fighting, and now everybody's against them. And they don't get their ass tore up over there. And that's how that caused China and India to rise. Okay, well, we talked about that. And then during this time, right, That's when false Israel was taken down. And now you got a situation here, because now they're going to blame Russia. That's how they got in the war with Russia. But now the false Israel goes down, right? And they got all these calamities going on. They got all these calamities going. They got the bad weather. They got the economy, because the American economy is going to be on the verge, because the American economy is already fragile right now. See? And so now, and they got this plague. And remember, let me say another thing. The 9 plagues they talk about Exodus, that's the war in Europe. See, I have a whole presentation explaining what those plagues mean. But that is what's going on. Those 9 plagues. And so all this is going on. Remember, it's Armageddon. So the plagues is affect mostly these is Armageddon. But most all these plagues was focused on what? America. They was the ones that imprisoned us, and they're over in Europe fighting. So they got all these trouble, all these calamities. They got political turmoil. They got a retarded person, a senile person running this whole thing. They got all these calamities, right? And now false Israel that went down, and now their minds in shock. Their minds in shock, because if false Israel ain't the real thing, that means these blacks are the true seed of Abraham. That's going to drive them crazy. That means they're being punished. God's after them. God ain't helping them. And Jesus didn't save false Israel, so that means he's coming to destroy them, not to help them. And that's going to blow their minds, and they got to do something about that. See? But they're going to blame all this here. They blame the failure in the war on Russia. But they're going to blame all these plagues and all this turmoil and everything on the Jews, because we were supporting you and you was lying to us. You told us you was the truth, and you was lying. You told us you was the truth. Because they know, see, they know they was lying, but they're gonna have somebody to blame on. That's why they're gonna have to need a scapegoat. So they're gonna try to blame them, even though they the ones put them up there, set it up. But they gonna say, you the ones causing all these plagues on us. So they're gonna be killing Jews over here like you can imagine. You think if Holocaust was bad? It's gonna be terrible. So now you got that going over here, right? You got the demon war with Suleiman the demons, right? And now he's taking seat, and now he's prophesying. At that point, he's prophesying. It says, this gospel will preach in all the world, then the end will come. So he's processing, because right now they suppressing everything we're saying right now. This ain't going to go very far. You know, it may go around the block, and they suppress it. We know that. See? But remember the walls of Jericho, they kept suppressing that, then the walls came crumbling down. So we're not worried. If I was worried about that, I would stop 30 years ago. See? So now, the judges sit. That's what when the Ancient of Days and the books were open, the judgment sit. So now, because they've been suppressing this voice. See, only voice they allow on TV and everything is demon voice. But they've been suppressing this voice, or Elijah Muhammad, or anybody, because the only way they allowed Malcolm on, and Malcolm ate their ass up until he went crazy, and they didn't never let that happen no more. So the only ones you hear now is the demons. But now, the voice of Suleiman breaks through, and they're hearing it, and it's driving them crazy, right? So now they're killing Jews left and right, blaming them. They're attacking you, right? And then so therefore, remember, China and India is on the rise. They just got ass kicked over in the Middle East. So, and remember how they went paranoid when Japan hit Pearl Harbor, how they locked them all in concentration camp? They're going to go after everybody. Everybody going to go after them. Everybody's going to call on their enclaves, right? The Indians they're going to ally together, and the Chinese going to ally together. Everybody in their enclaves, right? See, and you're going to have a race war going on here in America, while they're being destroyed over there, getting their ass kicked over there. The sword within, the sword without. This is all part of the apocalypse. And I'm telling you outline, but if you can think, just that says it would make a children gray-headed. Nothing in World War II made children gray-headed. It says, remember walking around drunk without having a drink. Because it's going to be terrible. I'm just outlining it, but you got to read between the lines to see what this really means. Because if this happened, right, you ain't going to have no infrastructure. I mean, you going to have any they already have distribution problems right now. Food distribution chain is already broken right now. What do you think will happen when this kicks off? There ain't going to be no food. They're already telling you, even if they don't have what they tell you right now, you prepare for food shortages for years to come without even this. So what happens when this happens? It says it's going to be, it says children will be gray-headed. Why are they gray-headed? Because they can't stay with their parents because they get eaten. It said their parents eat their own children. Some of them eat their own children for to eat their pets. I guarantee next year this time you won't be a pet in America. They all eating. And children, they figure out, because they're going to be eating. And after a while, they're going to run away from home. They're going to be out there having little children, little Roman gangs and everything else, preying on other people. If they can't find anybody, they start eating each other. It's going to be, it says, there's a, when you Google it, there's a woman, it says there's a woman, what she would do if she's in labor. She's going to be in labor silently. Now, I don't know, I'm not a woman. I don't know what that's like. I mean, I passed a kidney stone. They said something like that, and that was a monster. I passed a couple of them in my life, and I don't want to do that again. And they said it's worse than that, right? But they said she would do it in silence, right? So she could eat the baby that she just gave birth to. Because she don't want her husband and her children to know about it, because she don't want to share it with them. That's what's right in your Bible, brothers and sisters. That's what man's going to get. And I'm going a lot of detail, like I said, I'm trying to keep this thing down. So, because I could talk for 5 or 6, 7 hours just on that point. So you got to read between the lines how it's going to be here. And everybody's fighting with each other, right? And no food. And the weather's going to be terrible. And they're getting their ass kicked over there. And Britain, see, it says men's hearts be failing for fear. Men's hearts be failing for fear. Remember, man's heart be filled with fear of those things coming upon the earth. Remember, that's European countries, specifically America, because the powers of heaven will be shaken. Now, the heaven has to be in the Middle East, because if it was beyond the sun, moon, and stars, or on the seventh dimension, like these metaphysics tell you, all that kind of stuff, if it was like that, how would they know the powers of heaven were shaken? How would they know? See? Because it's talking about the Middle East. And what it means, power. Who's in power in the Middle East? Europeans are American, Britain, and false Israel in power in the Middle East right now. He said the power be broken, be shaken. That's what it said at war. And that means the people here will be in fear because they know that shit's coming here. You know what's coming here? Because they saw how disastrous the defeat was. They said it's coming. You remember the thing in Afghanistan? That nothing. That's like a play toy compared to what's going to happen. The way they're going to be humiliated. Worse than Vietnam, they're going to be humiliated. They're going to be kicked out so dramatically. See? And they ain't going back no more. Especially when they understand what was behind the force that kicked them out. But they can't tell you that. They're going to blame it on Russia. See? And then they go leave false Israel behind, and they're going under siege, and it says they're going to be eating each other. So they're going to be under siege for a few months. See? And it says, because no food come in, no food went out. They're going to be eating each other themselves. Cannibals. They call us the cannibals, they the cannibals. That's what it's saying. Now we ain't got through all this yet. See? So we're talking about the dragon wars, we're talking about the demon wars, we're talking about God and Magog trying to maintain their power. It says, but their power be broken. See? And then we got death and haze on the rise, which is China, India. They're on the rise now because European countries, America's declining because they war with each other. House divided cannot stand. They're on the rise, right? See? And they make their move. So while America's being bogged down over there, and they got turmoil here, and Britain, like I said, the first thing to go is Britain, because Britain, what happens in Britain is that, okay. When they see, you got the I better not go there. Anyway, Britain, it says they're going down first. They're going down hard, but it says it's going to be so bad there. See, that they're going to have no law, no order, anything. They're going to totally break down a society, totally break down. That's how bad it's going to be there. You know, the resurrection and everything else. See, between the Africans and the British and everything else, right? It's going to total insurrection. It's going to they're going to be lawless. It's going to be a total jungle. Everyone use that word. That's what happened in Britain. They were totally destroyed. So they're not going to have any government, anything. It's going to be wild, wild west. See, and America, see, that's coming here because they under insurrection. They have the same problem here. It's just bigger. They're going to go into martial control, martial law, which means the military could take control, but that's not going to work. See? Because we see at Exodus, it says the whole military went after the seed of Abraham. There's no story again. That's a tribulation period. See, I didn't talk about that, but tribulation period is during that time. See, because during the time when America's at war over there, right, and you got the race war going here, that's a tribulation here in America. That's a tribulation period. That's a war. That's an internal war. And that's race war, and and then they're going to be putting people in concentration camps, trying to force people to go and help fight that war over there. It's going to be chaos. That's a tribulation, and that will last. All this will last about a year. From the time that America starts Armageddon, the whole period we're talking about right now will last about a year. It says because in one day, and chapter 18 said all this happened in one day, in 1 year. See? So that's when China and India make their move. They first take out Britain. Britain has no control or nothing. Just they knock them out, and then they come and attack America from the west coast. It says the goat came across from the west. His feet did not touch ground. That means it came across the Pacific Ocean, and they come and go after the ram, right? We had two horns, America and Britain. They already took out Britain. Now they get ready to take out America. So they're going to they was angry at them. They were angry, and they came and stumped him, knocked him down, stumped him to the ground. Farrakhan said America's not going to be invaded. But he will be here when that happens. All him and the demons, we will not be here. Those in Lamb's Book of Life will be delivered. As time unprecedented trouble, we'll be delivered out of that. See, so we're going to have a first class seat, right? A box office seat, right? From the fortress. But they're going to be here. All these vipers and all that kind of stuff. And a lot of people are going to be here too because they didn't wake up in time. Because you read this Daniel, it says what? It says Michael, right? He delivered all those in Lamb's Book of Life. And then after he delivered it, then those sleeping in the dust, they finally woke up. And they had to go to tribulation. They had to go to the scenic route. We're trying to avoid that for you, brothers and sisters. Okay. But we're not going to sit around here and go through this trying to help you. Because I've been telling you for 30-some years. Faithfully. And anybody that knows me, right, knows that met me in the last few years. They know I'm on post 100%. That's a tribulation. So I went to find all this, and that's when death, and they refer to them as death in Hades. That's when they attack. So now America's being at war over there, and war internally, and now they're being invaded. All this within 1 year. It says, and they were burned down with fire. So these were hate the harlot, chapter 17. So these 10 kings, right? That's the beast, right? Because he got 10 horns, but his crown's on his horns. He said they would hate the harlot. Right? And said God put in their mind to do it. He said, wait a minute, God put in their mind to speak. How does that happen? See? Remember I talked about that oil thing again? I said all this thing about oil because what happens? Where does China and India get their oil from? They need it or they'll collapse. They get it from the Middle East and from Russia. See? But Russia's at war now. Russia's probably demolished. So they can't get anything from Russia. And they didn't get anything from the Middle East either, unless Master Muhammad allows it, because that's going to be the only source of oil. See, and they will need oil quick. See, so he tells them, if you want to continue getting oil, this is what you got to do. That's where it says he's going to inspire them to attack America. It says these 10 kings going to hate the harlot. It says God put in their minds to do it. See, because you have control of them because you want to continue to get oil, then that's what you have to take them out. Now they don't want to do it anyway. That's what's happening. All this is all connects. And another thing I want to say real quick, all these countries, false Israel, America, Arabs, right? They all claim to be the seed of Abraham, and we the real claimants. We the real ones. Think about that. And all this crap going on, all this stuff going on, is around who's the true seed of Abraham. Struggle. So I said, this apocalypse is the great struggle. It's the greatest struggle. Who's going to control the universe? Who's going to control reality? Who control energy? Okay, so America's taken out. It's going to be destroyed totally and burnt down totally to the crisp. And not going to be anybody here. It's going to be nuked. But then there won't be a nuclear war, but America will be nuked. Okay? Okay, so here we go. We're there. We're coming out. Then, as soon as we leave here, those that leave here with Michael, with Joshua, right? Then you got the Jin Wars. See? Because they control our land. Arabia's our land. They're squatters. They ran us out 50,000 years ago. Now we're taking it back. Read Exodus. It says, God put Joshua, put back on, got him back on the land. And then said, okay, now you go take it. So Joshua was a warrior priest. So he led the people to take the land back. Because the house of Assad, they fled. They've been fled. Once the war was gone, they got the hell out of there. They went back to India, right? But the Arabs there, still there. And they're going to resist. Now, they are our brothers, but they betrayed us. They used to be black, but they're circumcised. They got themselves white. But they're going to resist. And so we got to take the land back from them because it's our land. It's not theirs. So that's the Jin Wars. They the Jin. Oh, how they Jin? Okay. I'm not going to explain all that because that's another story altogether. But they the Jin. See? Because remember, the Jin was, well, I put it this way. The Jin was told to submit to Adam and Eve, right? But Adam and Eve was making them shed blood. But they said, well, how are we going to submit to them? So they wouldn't submit. But the angels said, we submitted. We came over, we submitted. We didn't came over here, they boys over here. We submitted. We went through the whole 9 yards, we submitted. But they refused. They're the only nation on the land, on earth right now, to submit this whole technology, everything that the Adam and Eve, American Britain has. The only ones that oppose it. They would call them terrorists and everything else. So that's enough to say they the Jinn, right? See, so their righteousness wasn't because of how they did, because they were fasting and praying. They're righteous because they didn't obey God, what God told them to do. So you can fast and pray all that stuff you want to, right? You gotta do what God tells you to do. That's the essence of righteousness. See, so we was righteous. We're righteous right now. Farrakhan, you sinful. He's a liar. We're righteous right now. Because you said, well, man, y'all eating junk and y'all fornicating, all that kind of stuff. But we're righteous. Well, because we obey God's will. So whatever sins and everything that we accumulate over here is on America. Because we're supposed to do what they told us to do, and that was their leadership. It's on them. That's why the angel tells you, it says, bless those who keep their garments, that their necks not be shown, because whatever we do under their authority, it's on them. You don't blame the product, you blame the manufacturer. That's no story together, bro. It says, you're not sinful. You're righteous, good people. You understand? You're thrown into a shithole, right? And if you're thrown in a shithole, you're covered with shit. That means you can wash it off. It ain't the same thing as being full of shit. Then you can't wash it off. So, bro, since all we need is a shower, that's why I said Suleiman will come with full of soap. So don't listen to this. People like Farrakhan, I mean, you're full of evil, because he's talking about himself. He's a demon. He's evil. You're not sinful. You're righteous people. But we got all these demons around us, and they're the ones that keep all the confusion going, and we take the hit. Because they're on TV making fools themselves, women with their ass shaking like nose up their ass, and all that, pimps and hoes and all that kind of stuff. That's them. They look like us, so we take the hit. That's why Suleiman had to go to war with them and clean them out. So because Elijah Muhammad showed you who you really are. But he did that with the Levites. He didn't even do it with us. He did it with the Levites. And look, and he showed that they was right. That scared the people. Because the image everybody had of us was clowns, stupid, ignorant, and everything else. And then he was showing that he was intelligent people taking care of business. That scared us. We had to shut it down. So we had to have Farrakhan come and shut it all down. And make us look like clowns and fools again. Because he said what iron would do, right? It make us what's the word they use? Not clown, but similar, right? Before the nations, for our enemies. See. Anyway, so then the Jim Wars. We take our land back. See. Now all this happened all this at the same time. So they don't took out America and Britain. They're taken out, right? See. So now you see death in Hades, America, China, India, right? They're rising in power. But also you get Africa's rising in power too, non-Islamic Africa, right? That's Lucifer rising in power. Now see, that's something you don't want to talk about too much. See, you don't know who that is. But that's Obama. Oh, I just lost everybody there on that one. Okay, you'll see. See, I'm not going into detail about it, right? But remember, he's African, he's not one of us. See, and you see him in chapter 1, the first seal, right? When he's riding the white horse, going to conquer and conquer. He's made 2 conquests. But if you understand it, when you're in the 4th seal, right? That's talking about him, right? And he's in charge of a European country. He's an African that's in charge of a European country. You need all the angels to understand this stuff, brothers and sisters. See, but so I know Africa is going to divide into 2 parts. That's going to happen very soon. It's going to divide into Islamic Africa and non-Islamic Africa. It'll be 2 spheres. Now all these countries, right? And Obama's going to be in the emperor, if you will, of the. Remember, it was 3 beasts. There was 3. There was dragon, had 7 heads and 7 horns. As crowns upon his heads. They had a beast that had 7 heads and 7 horns, but the crowns upon his horns. They had another beast that had 7 heads and crowns, 7 heads and 10 horns, but it had no crowns or horns. But it was alongside the beast that had 7 heads and 10 horns and crowns upon his horns. That means he would be with China and India when they invade America. That's non-Islamic Africa. They're going to all be together. But then they're going to get to fighting after they knock out Europe and everything else. They got power. They got the whole earth under their control. They have everything under control except the Middle East. That's a whole world, global war, where they subdue all the nations except us in the Middle East. So they have total control. And then they go to war with each other. And it says when that war will happen, it means non-Islamic Africa is going to defeat China and India. See? Not destroy them, they're going to defeat them. So in other words, he's going to have control of both of them. How he does it, whatever, if he's at leadership, whatever, and he's going to have control of the army. He's got a 200 million man army, he'll have control of it. He's going to be in control. After that war, the war between them. This is all apocalypse now. See, I don't like to go that far because that's after we get back home and everything. I like to just go concentrate on getting back home. But I want to cover the whole thing. And then once they do that, then it says, that's the story it says, they will look and they will see that we at home, Israel, right? That's us. We the real one. At home in peace and safety. And they're going to say, man, let's go get them. And that's the final war. That's the final war. They're going to attack us. See, Master Muhammad, right? He's the master of the air. He got the Air Force. Suleiman is a general on the ground. And that's a war of all wars. They outnumber us like 1,000 to 1. 200 million man army. It's not going to be anywhere near that many of us. But the Shia is going to be with us, right? Because that's Master Muhammad's rod of iron, right? And we have those, the Arabs that submitted after the war we had with the jinn, right? So it's going to be quite a few. It's going to be millions of us all together. But see, that's the last battle. And who's going to lead the battle? Joshua's going to lead the battle. Joshua is 144,000. See? And it says that war is going to be the worst ever. It's going to be worse than the Armageddon War between the Europeans. And it says it's going to take 6 months to bury the dead. It says Master Muhammad's going to drop something on them that's going to make their flesh fall right off their bones. That's going to be a war that's specifically, right, Lucifer's war. See? Him against Michael. Right? You can look at it from that point of view. Because both of them are archangels. See, but Lucifer thought he should be the superior archangel. If you understand the sealed Bible. He thought he should be the superior one. See, that he was jealous over Michael, who is Farad. He thought he should be superior. Because remember, they're similar. Because remember, both of them got black fathers and white mothers. There's similarities there. But he's an archangel. Both of them are archangels. But he wanted to be the superior. He said, I'll remember he said, I'll be like God. I'll be like the Most High. I will set my throne on the supreme north. It means America. So he did. He became president of America. Okay? But he said he'd be cast down. Michael was going to defeat him. See? But Lamb is also, he's on the ground. And that's the ground war. And that's the final. And then after that, it's peace. Eternal peace. Eternal peace. All enemies are wiped out. All enemies are destroyed. So I'm going to leave it there, brothers and sisters. That's the apocalypse. I think I gave enough detail. I don't think I need to follow up again. I think I gave enough detail. I'll think about it, right? Because, I mean, there's a lot of things I could have talked about, but I want to just give you an outline so you know. Because this is supposed to happen soon. See, now go to Farrakhan, ask him about it. He'll tell you all about it after it's over, if he's still alive. Because he's good with hindsight. He's very good with hindsight. He got 20/20 hindsight. See, but he claims a prophet. See, so I guess we change prophecy to prophet here, or maybe not worse than that, right? That's the apocalypse, brothers and sisters. And we ain't talking about years. You're talking about, by my calculation, I did one previously about the timeline. See, we're already in it now. See, it's just at the opening kinetic phase, if you will, right? The opening shot when Michael goes to war in the Middle East. But it actually started 2020 with that first plague, because it was 10 plagues altogether. That was the first of 10 plagues. So you got 9 more. 9 more represents Armageddon. Armageddon was the one that would cause them. See, you got the sealed Bible and the unsealed Bible. The sealed Bible says that the sealed Bible is talking about the firstborn. That was COVID. The unsealed Bible is talking about the firstborn. That's you remember I said Britain, because they were the firstborn between America and Britain. I mean, that's another story, right? And I said they'd be the first to go. See, so in that, because the whole purpose of that one was because that was like the 9th of all the 9 plagues. The purpose of that was to force them to let us go and return home. Because you're not believers, brothers and sisters, but they don't want us to leave here. They hate us, but they don't want us to leave. I told you about the symbiotic relationship, but it's much deeper than that. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. So I think I'm going to leave it there. Let's see here. Oops. Well, maybe I have a couple of things I'll talk about here. Okay, I'm going to read a couple of things here. But in those days after tribulation, the sun will be darkened, and the moon will not give its light, and stars will be falling from heaven, and powers that are in the heavens will be shaken. I told you that. So, who has the power in the Middle East? Who has the power in the Middle East? America, Britain, and false Israel. Their power will be breaking, shaken. It means that's war. They're about to break. Their power is about to be broken. And they will see the Son of Man coming in clouds with great power and glory. They will send forth his angels and will gather his elect from the 4 winds, from the end of the earth, from one end of the earth to the end of heaven. So you don't understand, the angel can't understand that. But see, that's talking about the 4 winds, because remember the 4 winds world, that was the resurrection. Will the nation be born in a day? That's the 4 winds. See, you need to understand the angel for that. So I'm not going to go into that, brothers and sisters. But that's what it's talking about. See, that's that 4 winds blowing. And we know the 4 winds blow when it blows. So those that you study, you understand this. Then further, now learn the power from the fig tree. As soon as its branches become tender and sprouts leaves, you know that summer is near. See, why use summer? See, I told you, those are winter people. The earth is 24, it's probably 20 between 24, probably 24,000 miles it takes for the earth to complete a turn of cycle on its axis, right? See, so that's 6,000 year periods, and we just went through a 6,000 year period, right? With Yaqub's, that was a winter. Now we're going to spring. You see, and in spring, what happens in spring? Spring, all the ice thaws out. See, they're ice people. They're the personification of the winter. I talked about this personification idea, right? But we just personification. But we became frozen. See, they was thriving in the winter. Ice thrives in the winter. It grows in the winter. See, they built fortresses and everything else. But when the spring comes, spring thaw. I don't care how much ice you got; it's going to melt. I don't care how powerful you think you are; it melts. That's happening. The whole civilization is melting. But it's throwing us out. While it's destroying them, it's throwing us out. See? So I'm not going any see? But some of you want to hold on to the ice, hold on to the devils and everything. Well, okay. So you will see these things happening, recognize that it's near. That means you know that, right? All the stuff that's talking about is near, right? Right at the door. See, that's what it's telling you. This stuff is real close. They tell you when you see this, it's real close. See? Truly I say to you, this generation will not pass away until all these things take place. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will not pass away. But about that day or an hour, no one knows, even angels of heaven, nor the Son, but the Father only. Only matters from I keep saying He don't want to know exactly. See, but it tells you can know when it's near. But you want to know the exact day. Only matters from how many, because He's the one that's got initiated. Okay. Hope you understand that, brothers and sisters. Then this one. Therefore be on the alert, for you do not know which day your Lord is coming. But be sure of this. I think I've mentioned other thing. It says, when Farrakhan trying to make up his own scripture, talking about this ain't gonna happen, that ain't gonna happen, America not gonna be invading, all that kind of stuff. He can write his own scripture, but it says this scripture will happen. There's nothing that can stop it. How do you say it? The earth could pass away, everything, nothing. But it says, heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will not pass away. See? So it's going to happen. So Farrakhan talk all that crap he wants, right? Therefore, be on alert, for you do not know which day your Lord is coming. Be sure of this, that if the head of the house had known at what time of the night the thief was coming, he would have been on alert and would not have allowed his house to be broken into. For this reason, you shall be ready as well, for the Son of Man is coming an hour when you do not think he will. See? And you got to understand who's the question, who the Son of Man is. It means Suleiman. That's another story altogether. But it says, got to be careful, because I'm talking to you, I'm talking to them. And if they knew exactly what was going to happen, see, then they could prevent it. See? So if they thought I knew, right, they probably had me down Gitmo trying to tell them. See? So it tells you right there, I don't even know. So it's like to protect me. Because they thought I knew, right? Because that's what they want to know. Think about it. Okay. Then he left the crowds and went to the house, and the disciples came and said, explain us the parable of the weeds and of the field. He says, the one who sows the good seed is the Son of Man, and the field is the world. And for the good seed, these are the sons of the kingdom, and the weeds are the sons of the evil one. Those are demons. See? They look like the wheat, but they demons. They're son. See, that's what I said. They were sown amongst them. See, they raped our women and everything else, and they produced their seed. And that's what they were sowing, their seed amongst our people, and they look like us, but they ain't us. Their sons, their seeds are sons of evil ones. See? Talking about seed, but they kind of tell you one drop of blood, one drop of black blood make you black. It might make you black, but don't make you original, still a devil. And it means you, and if your mother's other than the devil, then you a demon. Half devil, half man. These are sons of the king, and these are sons of the evil one. And the enemy who sowed them is the devil. He said the devil sowed them. That's his children. And the harvest at the end of the age, remember I told you that war? So we're going to gather them all together, then we go to war with them. We got to get rid of them, right? And that's something I forgot to mention, the apocalypse, that there's the Pacific War again with them, right? Because we're going to go to war with them. We're going to separate them out of us. But then they're going to go to war. The demon, that's talking about the demon plague. They're going to go to war with Massa, and Massa going to destroy them. So that's how they're going to end up. Because Massa don't want them either. We don't want them. Massa don't want them either. But when they realize that, they're going to go to war, and Massa going to destroy them all. We won't be here, but some of you will be here in the tribulation period. And the enemy who sowed them is the devil, and the harvest at the end of the age, and the reapers are the angels. So just as weeds are gathered up and burning, so just as weeds are gathered and burned in the fire, so shall it be at the end of the age. The Son of Man will send for his angels. They will gather out of his kingdom all stumbling blocks who commit lawlessness and fornication. That means all the demons and the devils, and they will throw them into the furnace of the fire. At that place there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. See, because also going to be the vipers in there. They'll be, oh, please, man, come on, we was with my Elijah. We don't get the hell out of here. We try to talk to you. You heard this. We've been talking for 30-some years. And you out here talking your bullshit. You got messing with black men, you got all this stuff, and you getting in the way, blocking this truth. You got our people hanging around your shadows. See? Your shadows from blocking the truth. And you making money and whatever you're doing. And then you're, oh, please, no. We ain't here. Look, you don't understand this judgment. You think he's going to be merciful to you? No. You know the mercy going to show mercy? Those in the Lamb's Book of Life, those that stood up. See? Won't be no mercy for you. and they will throw them in the furnace of fire. In that place they will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Then the righteous will shine forth like the sun in the kingdom of their Father, and the one who has ears, let him hear. Brothers and sisters, got a heavy day, time, I'm pressing trouble. And he answered them, he who sows good seed is the Son of Man. The field, the same thing, is another translation. The field is the world. The good seed are the sons of the king, but the tares, they call them tares here. Tares are sons of the wicked one. The enemy sows them is the devil. The hearts are the end of the age, and these are angels. Therefore, as the tares are gathered and burned to the fire, so will be the end of the age. The Son of Man will send an angel, and they will gather all in the kingdom, all that offend. They use the word offend. That means if you offend the Son of Man, that's your ass. You out here calling names and all that kind of stuff. Hey, nigga, you're a nigga and all this stuff. Well, okay. If you offend, right, I told you, if you think I'm going to be merciful to you, okay, we'll see. And all things offend, and those who practice lawlessness, he will cast them in the furnace of the fire, and there will be wailing and gnashing of teeth. And the righteous will shine forth as the Son in the kingdom, the Father who has ears, let him hear. So it's telling you in this case, right? See, after when they sent a prophet or messenger, they sent the material that's perfect for that judgment. So in other words, if you only people that would offend them are people that wouldn't pass the judgment. So in other words, it's like a sensor, right? Like you said, a sensor. So like a motion sensor. So something moves and the sensor go off. So the prophet and messenger like that. See, I used to wonder a lot of times, why use me, right? See, because of built-in sensors. I shouldn't even talk about this, bro, sister. Like Elijah Muhammad. So in other words, if he because he's made a certain kind of way. So in other words, put it like this here. Say for instance, only one you want to save is apples. You got apples and oranges and everything else, right? But so you send somebody in that loves apples. He hates all the other stuff. You see what I'm saying? So you bring he bring I'll keep these because I like apples, and you throw the oranges away because that's his nature. It's built into his nature. So it's built in Son of Man's nature to like certain type of people. Those ones that are going to be saved, the righteous, right? And he would hate. So in other words, if you offend him, then you're part of the ones that's going to be destroyed anyway. Because it's built into his nature. That's why certain people are picked. You understand? So it's like Farrakhan, he'd be what's the word I'm going to use? Amenable to devils and demons. That's why he bring them in. See? Because those people please him. They have an affinity for those type of people. I hope you understand. I shouldn't get into this, but I wanted to have a whole presentation on explaining this one day. I just never got around to it. So in other words, okay, maybe I say it that way. The prophet or messenger will come. He has affinity for the people, right? That will survive and make it to the hereafter. The ones that, I should say another way. Okay, say for instance, I use the apple orange. Say for instance, you got some people that are wise enough to make it to the hereafter, right? And some people ain't. So the Suleiman will come, and he have a natural affinity. It'll be built in for the ones that will make it, right? So they'll be attracted to him, he'll be attracted to them. So, you see what I'm saying? And the other one wouldn't be attracted. So it'd be built into him. I'm going to leave it like that, brothers and sisters. Leave it like that. That's why I said if those offend, the only one who would offend him is the devils and demons and those people would make that we don't want. Put it either way. Those that offend him is the ones that we wouldn't want to hear after anyway, because he'd be naturally offended by them. But the ones that's good, the good seed, he would be naturally attracted to them. He naturally liked them. I'm gonna leave it like that, brothers and sisters. I tell you, brothers and sisters, look, it's so much to get into, and I don't want to go too far into this. Like I said, I'm most concentrating on getting us out of here. But once you get out of here, brothers, the wisdom, it says the wind will flow like rivers. because you haven't been told the truth about anything over here, and these people are totally ignorant anyway. Once you start understanding how the real things work, and you start getting that 5 fundamental principles of Islam, mathematical principles of Islam under your belt, right? Then you start understanding a whole new reality. See? Because that's why people are chosen. Because, I mean, we're not chosen, that's a word again, because you feel, well, who chose them? See? Because who generated Suleiman? The devils did. They did. Because he's a consequence of evil. He's a consequence of you get it? He's a consequence of evil. If they hadn't done evil, he would never been. He never came into existence. He's the personification of the consequence of the evil. And everybody has to pay consequence. So all the evil now, he's the one's going to. He's the consequence. See, he's going. He's the consequence. So in other words, if you go out there and stick your hand, if you go out here and do bad, and now. And now you got to pay the price, right? Okay, well, there could be a personification that somebody that would just beat you down to balance the whole thing out. It could be just happen, or you get a cancer or something, or it could be a person that would be the consequence, right? That would affect the consequence. And so all the stuff the devil did, they generated a seed that would be the consequence of what they did. That would execute the consequence upon them. That would balance everything out. Hope you understand, brothers. I probably didn't express that very clearly because I didn't mean to get into that. Like I said, I get into a lot of stuff, and I always got to strain myself because there's so much to talk about. And I said, I'll be talking about hours. I probably talking about almost an hour and a half already. Didn't mean to. There'll be signs in the sun and the moon and stars and earth, distress among nations, and perplexity as the roaring of the sea and waves. People fainting from fear and people fainting, right? From fear. Well, actually, some translation says their hearts, they have heart attacks, right? People fainting from fear of the expectation of things that come upon the world, for the powers of heaven be shaken. I don't like this translation here. This is a really bad one. But that's what it says. Men's hearts failing from fear and expectation. So if their hearts are failing in expectation, what do you think their heart's going to do once it actually happens? And for the powers of heaven be shaken, that means when they see America and false Israel and Britain defeated, that's going to be earth-shaking event. And says people's hearts going to be failing. It's going to be so dramatic because they know what this means. They know their destruction is coming. They know Jesus ain't coming to help them. Jesus coming to destroy them. And then they will see the Son of Man come in the clouds with power and great glory. But when these things begin to take place, straighten up and lift up your heads, because yes, and redemption is drawing nigh. So when you see, when these things begin to take place, these things are starting to take place now. And so it says, straighten up. Lift your heads. Don't you get depressed. Let them get depressed, because your redemption is near. Okay, brothers and sisters, I'm going to leave it there. Let me go ahead and close out on my audio, and then we're going to close out, brothers and sisters. I said a lot of things more than I expected to, right? And, okay, brothers and sisters. And for our audio, brothers and sisters, this is Black Alert segment of the Fire Zone. Thank you for listening. We do keep we do provide a link to the visual side. If you care to view it, we provide the link. If you go back and look at this, right? So you can go back and look at the visual side if you care to. Thank you. Fire Zone out. If you brothers and sisters, visual brothers and sisters, thank you for listening. Assalamu alaikum.